r/AskReddit. Flight attendants and pilots of Reddit. What are some things that happen mid-flight that only the crew are aware of? As an air traffic controller, we are constantly swearing and yelling at pilots when we're not on the frequency, and then when we key up we use our nice guy voices. One of my all-time favorites is the captain accidentally broadcasting his passenger briefing. Welcome aboard. Weather in Chicago and so on frequency instead of the aircraft PA system. Blocking up ground, ramp, tower, etc. for a solid 15 seconds. You automatically become the laughing stock of the airport. Heard a pilot give an arrival PA to the cabin on 121.5 about 20 miles outside of my airspace once. Checked in 10 seconds later. Told him it was the finest PA I'd ever heard on guard, but he might want to give it again. Definitely didn't find it as funny as I did. A lady who was feeling very ill crapped her pants mid-flight. A very kind FA managed to get her covered in a blanket and into the bathroom with barely anyone noticing, and then gave her a pair of her own pants to wear so she wouldn't be embarrassed. Not sure if it's been mentioned already. I was learning to be cabin crew at college, and in the event that someone dies on board, the CC, cabin crew, make it less obvious that they have passed. Put glasses on them, maybe a hat. Essentially dress them up as subtle as possible to not alert and or panic the other passengers. I was only a month or two out of IOE, initial operating experience at my first airline job, flying right seat in a regional jet. I had just come back from the bathroom, when the captain pointed that several flight instruments on his side had failed, and he had reverted to using data from my side. Basically told his main flight display to start using data from the second independent system. Soon, however, that went bad too. The autopilot disconnected, and here we were at 25,000 featuring or so, in icing, hand flying off a tiny little combined last-ditch backup instrument called an IESI, Integrated Electronic Standby Instrument, if memory serves. We declared an emergency, asked ATC to point us in the direction of better weather, and tried to figure out what the hell was happening. Icing on both primary pitot tubes maybe, though that shouldn't happen, they are heated. In any case, we ended up making a perfectly safe landing after a diversion, and the passengers never had any idea that, for a few minutes, I was really concerned that things were about to turn very, very bad and that we were down to our emergency backup gauge. That's the shortened version without most of the techno babble anyway. I've got an original one for you all. There is a radio frequency we all are required to monitor. It's called guard. It's for emergency use and is designed for maydays, and for air traffic control to reach aircraft that may have lost radio contact, or to relay messages from aircraft to other aircraft, etc. Every day this frequency is abused. You will hear hundreds of professional aviators meowing, yelling obscenities at each other, and making fun of one airline or another. Oftentimes what will start it is some poor guy accidentally transmitting his PA announcement to passengers on the guard frequency, followed by the very mature outbreaks for about 5-10 minutes. It's the worst on the East Coast. Edit. Just today I heard an airline aircraft trying to relay info about a medical emergency on this frequency through one of their fellow company aircraft. They couldn't finish any of their sentences without people yelling yeah on good, hey nobody cares about yeah passenger, hey you're on guard too, hey. The scariest moment of my day is when the FA opens the internal bag door, the closet we all throw our overnight bags in, without calling us in the flight deck first. That ding and master caution gets me every time. Pilots are on their phones or reading the newspaper all the time. Ex-airline employee here. Often we'd have someone on board with terrible body odor. You can set the temperature in one end of the cabin hotter and it localized the smell to one part of the plane. If you see coffee filter bags hanging anywhere, it's because someone smells like open ass somewhere on the plane. FARs often talk about the hot guy in 23B or whatever seat he's in. Pilot around a lot up front. They'll take pictures, post on FB, watch movies. Automation has taken over a lot of the work on long flights. Edit. Not really on topic, but don't ever walk barefoot or in socks on an airplane. The same mop that mops the lab, mops the galley. Not an airline pilot yet, just got hired by my first airline and start class next month. But I've been a pilot for 6 years. I primarily teach Chinese airline pilots how to fly, but I've done some passenger operations in business aircraft on the side. First of all the comments about pilots making cat sounds and Chewbacca noises is 100% true. Also, whenever someone leaves an area and switches frequencies, they yell "see ya," and then a dozen other pilots will key up yelling "see ya" one after another. We also enjoy talking shit about people who say "with you. Got M on the fish finder. Any traffic please advise." And 3 and 5. Also, the things that scare passengers don't faze the pilots one bit. We don't give a shit about turbulence or having to do a go around. The things I don't like are things you generally won't know about. Thunderstorm dodging, microburst alerts, ice, maintenance issues, etc. This started off with us blissfully unaware, ended with mild pant. I was flying to France in one of those planes with the TV screen up front to show the flight path and where you currently are. I was just about to fall asleep when the captain asked over the PA if there was a doctor on board and if they could go to seat. I knew this was bad. The flight path changed to Canada and we had to make an emergency landing. We were stuck there for 2 hours. When we finally got to France, his entire row was quarantined off. I have no idea what happened. An instructor told me that he and his training buddy both fell asleep for about 45 minutes at the same time, while gaining hours for licensing. The plane was in complete autopilot mode, clear skies, zero turbulence. They both swore if they ever flew again they would hand off sleep like handing off the controls. Edit. For further context, he told me that after both of them awoke, they were terrified. Neither had no idea what had happened, even if anything had happened. Luckily, it was over the Gulf of Mexico and at a low enough altitude where it wouldn't impact commercial airliners. Their trim was set before the nap, so they only gained a couple 100 feet of altitude. But rest assured, each were not happy with themselves. They immediately contacted ATC, verified their position, and turned around to go back to the airport, white palming the yoke the entire way. Oh, and this was at night too. They needed the night experience. Edit 2. They were in a Cessna 152. This wasn't an oxygen issue. It was just two buddies not communicating with each other and both assuming the other was flying. Edit 3. You're right. C-152s don't have autopilot. By autopilot I meant trim, which would confuse people. They were also very lucky the trim was set to gain altitude, not lower. I was just speaking in layman terms for the non-pilots to understand better. Like I said, they were definitely thoroughly freaked out and both admitted how badly they f***ed up. My uncle was a pilot. He says that most people don't understand how much of the airplane is run by computers. The pilots are necessary, but a lot of the elements of flying are automated nowadays. Don't fly with an ear infection or fluid in your ears. There is a chance you can rupture your eardrum. Flight crews are especially susceptible to this since we are constantly going through pressurization and depressurization when we work. There's a 600-page book in the cockpit with every single thing that can possibly go wrong, from a bulb going out to an engine falling off, a biohazard or a bomb threat. Pilot here. Most of the time the passengers are not given the full answer on why a flight is delayed or cancelled. Airlines will typically blame cancellations on unrelated events, weather, instead of mechanical issues, so they don't have to pay for hotel rooms, meals, etc. Also, chemtrails are not real. For those of you who believe they are real, give your head a shake. FA here. At mid-flight I noticed a strange thing with one of the slides was not armed properly and had an issue with it. However, we landed safely and nobody of the packs knew nothing. Flying Paris, Seattle. Normal uneventful flight. I don't think there was Wi-Fi available on the flight. When we land, we are greeted by tons of heavily armed National Guard, police, TSA, K9s. The Paris happened about an hour or so into our flight. Passengers had no idea that the attack had happened, until everyone got cell phone reception, and floods of "Are you okay" texts. I assume the crew knew the whole time, as soon as it happened. Never said a word about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like and subscribe. Please check out more of our videos or our playlist. It is perfect for when you want background noise or to put on when you are falling asleep. Once again, thank you and have a great day.